by 2014. Comprises Australia, Belgium, Malaysia, the Netherlands, and Ukraine. All JIT countries are present at this press conference today, and this presentation shall reveal the fruits of our cooperation.
Ja, det ikke stort, tenker jeg. Mer russofobi.
I'll start by disclosing some figures from the investigation to demonstrate the scope. For a long time, between 100 and 200 investigators worked as part of the JIT on this case daily, sometimes even more. And at present, nearly 100 investigators, public prosecutors, and other experts continue to work on the case within the JIT.
Så mange da, som har jobbet på det, som blir skuffet over det du kommer til å si nå, fordi de vet du ljuger, tenker jeg.
Thousands of wreckage parts from the MH17 have been examined in detail, piece by piece, and 1,448 have been included and processed into a database because they're relevant to the investigation. 60 requests were sent to over 20 countries, and many of those have already been answered.
Kom igjen da.
Many 5 billion internet pages were recorded and assessed for the relevant content. 500,000 videos and photographs were examined in detail and saved for the record. Over 200 witnesses have been questioned by us, in some cases under difficult circumstances. In addition, 150,000 intercepted telephone calls were listened to, summarized, and assessed for their relevance and authenticity. And based on these over 3,500 intercepted conversations were processed, entirely translated and analyzed. All of this has been recorded in more than 6,000 official reports. The criminal investigation focuses on finding the truth and is ultimately intended to trace and prosecute the perpetrators. The most important part of the JIT investigation is to substantiate our conclusions with legal and convincing evidence meeting a very high standard. The evidence must stand before a court. Of course, ultimately, the court will render the final judgment. In the meantime, we have gathered so much evidence that, as we announced earlier, we can answer the question as to which weapon was used and, far more important, exactly where this weapon was launched.
Ok, den babler mer om den der buken. Ja, vi vet at det ikke var den buken, da vet du. Vi vet at det var 2 SU-24 jagerfly som lå skyggen.
And I'll tell you more about that at the end.
Ja, det bare sånn farse igjen. Ny farse, folkens!
The possibilities available to us. We cannot and do not want to tell you everything yet because that might jeopardize the investigation.
Ja,
Investigation and play into the perpetrator's hands. And we will be showing all our evidence. We've made a selection to illustrate how we reached our conclusions. First, I will discuss the different scenarios investigated and how we reached our conclusions concerning these scenarios.
Ja, bra det. Du fra Nederland.
Mr. Paulsen will take over from me and he will walk you through the investigation concerning the weapon and the launch site. He'll tell you the details at the end. I'll briefly discuss the further investigation into the perpetrators. The JIT conducted the investigation as broadly as possible and investigated various scenarios from the outset, although one scenario appeared to be the most likely fairly early on. The other possibilities needed to be investigated carefully to ensure an unprejudiced, impartial, and professional investigation. 2 scenarios could be ruled out after a while, as mentioned previously. This included the possibility of an accident as a consequence of technical or human failure and the possibility of an attack within the aircraft. For example, We have already been able to discard these two scenarios.
Ja, nettopp, ikke sant? For vi har sett de satellittbildene, og vi vet hva som har skjedd. Det bare dere som ikke gidder å si det til verden, dere raringer.
By now in the investigation, we have been able to exclude what's known as the air-to-air scenario, and I will explain how we reached that conclusion. If flight MH17
Se, folk forbanna her, altså, for alle vet det løgn, vet du.
Aircraft, this plane would have been visible on the radar images, and there's been quite a lot of discussion about radar data. Both Ukraine and the Russian Federation provided the JIT with radar data. Recently, after investigation, the JIT found another video file containing relevant primary radar data from that area recorded by a mobile radar in Ukraine. At the time this radar was being used to test new software, of course, the radar had a limited range, but it detected flight MH17 and completes the picture. The discussion about the radar images may be concluded. As far as we're concerned today, we wish to emphasize that the material now available to us is amply sufficient to reach conclusions in the criminal investigation. So, to set up a solid criminal file, we will not need to gather more material. In addition to the radar images, witnesses had been questioned, such as the air traffic controllers working in Ukraine at the time, and the JIT has an audio file of the conversation.
Ja, jeg skulle ikke prate med han der spanske traffic controller
through the Ukrainian airspace on 17 July 2014, including flight MH17. All these data together provide a sufficiently comprehensive impression of the air traffic in the direct vicinity of flight MH17, and based on that impression, the JIT has concluded that no other aircraft were flying in the vicinity of flight MH17. So no other aircraft that could have shot it down. For that reason alone, this scenario may be excluded. The Russian Federation has also mentioned this week that they have found new primary radar images. So based on those images, even the Russian Federation has now concluded that no second aircraft could have shot down MH17. Moreover, much additional evidence contributes to the evidence of the final scenario, which is that flight MH17 was shot down by a ground-based air defense system. This is the scenario that results from the criminal investigation. I'm now going to hand you over to Mr.
Prorussiske rebeller, ikke sant? Vi vet at du kommer til å si det, din raring.
And the details of the results of the criminal investigation.
Ja, dette gidder jeg ikke å se på en gang, for det er for dumt. Det er ikke noe verdt å kaste bort tid på, fordi vi vet svaret på forhånd. Vi vet at de kommer til å skylde på prorussiske rebeller eller russeren selv. Det er det de håper på, og på pinnere på russeren selv, ikke sant? Men de tar det nest beste, hvis de får til det. Dette her er bare sånn mer av det samme da. Mer av det samme gamle, kjedelige løgnene som vi vet er løgn. Fordi det er dokumenterbart. Og jeg skulle likt å prate med han der spanske luftkontroll, air traffic controlleren, ja, som fikk det ut, som sa på lufta ut at 2 jetfly fra Kiev, altså Kiev-kontrollerte, som skygger MH17, og nå står de og bryter opp døra her, og så, litt av hvert sånt nå, og så ble han arrestert, og så hørte vi ikke noe mer, gitt. Og så ble flyet skutt ned. Jeg er så lei av alle disse løgnene deres, altså. Det er ikke sannhet i verden igjen i hele tatt.
And this respect, the book was mentioned to illustrate this.
Ja, selvfølgelig. Book. Rakket, ikke sant? Vet du hva? Glem det. Mer av det samme, mer bløff. Selv nederlenderne selv driver og skriver her at vi vet at det bløff, vi vet hva som skjedde. Ja, for det var Kiev-juntaen som skjøt ned, for de ville ha i gang Soros og gjengen, vet du. Ville ha, og Nulen da, og de som installerte denne juntaen, de ville ha i gang noe større.